Think of your favorite memories of childhood. The lazy summer days building sandcastles on the beach, sledding downhill, not even feeling the chilly winter air as you lose yourself in the reckless abandon. The bright lights, games, and amusement when the circus comes to town. And while the circus may provide many fond memories of rides and games, cotton candy and peanuts, there is one predominantly featured character that typically elicits feelings of fear as opposed to lighthearted entertainment and silliness. That's right, kids. It's time to send in the clowns. There is one eerie motel running along Highway 6 in Tonopah, Nevada, that seems to play on those fears, featuring near top-to-bottom memorabilia, artwork, and statues of the panic-inducing painted figures, both inside and out. And, to top it off, the motel is reportedly haunted. Because, of course it is. Tonight we are being given a ticket of admission to this dark carnival, and together we will explore the origins of clowns and their deep roles in history, the tale of this unique motel experience, and its illustrious owner, and of course, the claims of paranormal instances and recorded evidence. Together we will see who, in the end, will be laughing, or who will shed the tears of a clown.
Golden light under the canvas, and the dust and smells of the old circus are gone. But the acts are still pretty much the same. Oh, sure, there have been some changes. But the circus is still the greatest show on earth. And to have a circus, you have to have clowns.
Well, in today's society, there is a certain stigma around clowns, due in large part to true crime cases like that of John Wayne Gacy, TV, movies, books, all featuring killer clowns that are far too numerous to name. The history of clowns actually goes quite far back in our culture, and the original intent was far from the nefarious image that is commonly attributed to them today. The history of clowns goes all the way back to the 5th dynasty of Egypt around 2400 BC. Clowns traditionally had served a socio-religious and psychological role. During this time, it was not uncommon to see priests serving in a dual role of padre and clown. As explained by Peter Berger, it seems plausible that folly and fools, like religion and magic, meet some deeply rooted needs in human society. Clowning is often recognized due to the physicality and theatricality of their performances and have global roots and origins. In Lakota and Dakota cultures, the Heyoka is an individual who lives outside the constraints of normal cultural roles, playing the role of a backwards clown by doing everything in reverse. Many native tribes have a history of clowning. For the Canadian clowning method, there is a combination of European and Native American techniques that is utilized, by using masks made of clay while the creator's eyes are closed, and the clown creates a personal mythology that explores their own experiences. When looking to modern clowns, there is a strong association with the traditions of circus clowns, which developed out of earlier comedic roles in theater and variety shows during the 19th and mid-20th centuries. These characters became recognizable for their outlandish costumes, distinctively bright and over-exaggerated makeup, colorful wigs, oversized footwear, and loud, boisterous personalities with the express intent of entertaining large audiences. Joseph Grimaldi is widely recognized as the ancestor of the modern clown and is credited with the evolution of clowning as it is recognized today. He is credited with being the originator of the white face makeup design. In the early 1800s, he expanded the role of clown to a more Harlequin-esque style and helped form the British pantomime performance style through the Theatre Royal, Drury Lane, Sadleir Wells, and Covent Garden theaters. The comedy that clowns perform is usually in the role of a fool whose everyday actions and tasks exaggeratingly become extraordinary, and that over-the-top performance quality holds true for the modern clown. The circus clown developed in the 19th century, and by the early 20th century, the clown as a rustic simpleton or village idiot character would all but disappear and be replaced with a more hobo aesthetic in the style of Marceline Orbs, Emmett Kelly, and the iconic portrayal by Charlie Chaplin in the film The Tramp. Clowns would progress to a more tragicomedy style as a funny man with the worst luck. By the 1950s, the clown would be a common character in pop culture through television, courtesy of Red Skelton and Bozo the Clown, and even getting their footing in the restaurant gig with one of the most commonly recognized clowns in the world, Ronald McDonald, acting as mascot for the global conglomerate fast food chain McDonald's. Soon, clowns were a common choice for entertainer for children's birthday parties and business meetings. The 1960s would give rise to a program known as Clown Care, which saw clowns visiting ill children in hospitals, and by the mid-1980s, the clowning business was booming, necessitating the development of Clowns of America International in 1984 and the World Clown Association in 1987 to represent semi-professional and professional clown entertainers alike. So, when did public opinion of clowns shift from a sense of entertainment to a sense of dread? When exactly did clowns go from birthday party goofy to downright sinister? If you ask David Carleon, an author and playwright who was himself a clown with the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus in the 1970s, this fear of clowns, known officially as coulrophobia, is a relatively new phenomenon born from the counterculture of the 1960s and emerging as a popular force in the 1980s. Carleon said clowns were considered sweet and funny for 2 centuries, until an inevitable backlash that included Stephen King's hit novel and subsequent miniseries and movie duology It, the many screen portrayals of the white-faced maniac DC character Joker, the misanthropic Krusty the Clown from the long-running animated series The Simpsons, the Faygo-thirsty Detroit shock band Insane Clown Posse, just to name a few, would shift that tide. All it took was a few people to acknowledge the garish nature of the appearance and behaviors of clowns for the public opinion to shift, finding clowns viewed in a new light, moving them from entertaining to malevolent. For some, like Benjamin Radford, an author and editor at Skeptical Inquirer, and the author of the fitting novel Bad Clowns, the thought is that evil clowns have always been in our midst. It is a mistake to ask when clowns turn bad, he says, because they were never really good. They've always had this deeply ambiguous character, using examples like Punch and Judy, with Punch being an evil clown puppet character with a tendency toward violence toward Judy with his ever-present stick. It is easy to see the long-standing balance of good and evil characters in the clown community. Bradford sums it up pretty well, saying, "The fact is that we need both bad and good clowns, because without the good clowns like Bozo, there's no contrast. There's no tension to make the evil or scary clowns entertaining or interesting. Sometimes they're good. Sometimes they're bad. Sometimes they're making you laugh. Other times, they are laughing at your expense."
If all the clowns weren't enough to creep you out, there's something else that scares guests away. The motel was built next to a cemetery that's more than 100 years old. This was the county's cemetery, created around the turn of the century. Its occupants? Exactly what you might expect from an Old West town: a murdered sheriff, prostitutes, barkeepers, even 14 miners killed in a fire.
To understand how the world-famous Clown Motel came to be, we have to first explore the history of Tonopah itself and the many events that led to this haunted land playing host to this unique lodging experience. To do this, we have to go all the way back to 1900. A story that persists in regards to the founding of Tonopah revolves around a man named Jim Butler. The story goes that Jim, in a fit of frustration, threw a stone at a donkey and was alarmed at how heavy the stone was. Upon closer inspection, he would realize that what he was holding was not a stone at all. He had stumbled upon land that was rich with silver ore. Butler would lease out the land to multiple mining companies and would collect royalties as a payment. It would not take long for Tonopah to grow into a thriving mining community. The area would soon become a busy and populous town equipped with housing, stores, and, of course, a local cemetery that would also play a crucial role in the reported hauntings of the Clown Motel. The cemetery was founded in 1901 and would close a mere 10 years later. Among those buried there are the victims of what would later be referred to as the Tonopah Plague, which had swept through the area in 1905. What would start as chest pains would lead to death within a matter of hours. Dissections would be performed to try to determine the source of this horrific disease, and this would reveal that the livers of the deceased were completely black and hard as stone. The cause of this plague was later accepted to be a form of pneumonia linked to poor sanitation. Another main source of inhabitants in the Tonopah Cemetery would come in about 1911 with the Belmont Mine fire. In the early hours of February 23rd, a fire was identified deep within the Belmont Mine at the 1,166-foot level. And while the loss was devastating, the death toll would have been much worse were it not for one man by the name of William Big Bill Murphy. Big Bill would volunteer his efforts to go down the mine shaft in an attempt to rescue the miners trapped underground. But one trip down the 1,166-foot depths would not be enough for Murphy, and he would make a second trip down the now smoke-filled pit to rescue his colleagues. Despite the fumes, he would further push for a third trip in his rescue mission. And on this third trip, it took a little longer for the cage to return to the surface. Eventually, the cage emerged full of a third round of weary men. But no Bill. One of these semi-conscious men would state that someone had fallen out of the cage on its ascent. That man would end up being the brave Big Bill Murphy. In total, 17 men lost their lives on that day, including 27-year-old Bill, whose grave in Tonopah Cemetery reads, "Died while saving others." A monument stands outside the Tonopah post office as a memorial to the bravery and kindness of Big Bill Murphy. The cemetery would be the final resting place for a colorful array of other individuals, such as Sheriff Thomas Logan, who would lose his life in a fire trying to save others from a brothel; George Devil Davis, who would be shot in the back by his wife. His wife would go on to serve a single year in prison after she detailed the many years of horrific abuse she suffered at the hands of her husband. There was also Bina Veralt, who would pass away from alcoholism after a life on the run, seducing men and robbing them of money and jewels, which would by today's standards total $2.5 million. But it would be a different Belmont mine fire that would give us the inspiration for the world-famous Clown Motel. A gentleman by the name of Clarence David would perish in a 1942 fire in the mine and would also find his final resting place in the Tonopah Cemetery. He would leave his possessions to his two children, Leona and Leroy. And among those possessions was his massive collection of clown dolls. In 1985, the pair would decide to pay tribute to their fallen father and wanted to do so in a way that would display his unique collection. The David children would make the decision to build a motel right next to the cemetery that was their father's final resting place. They further created a display of all 150 of their father's cherished clowns. The motel was an instant hit. However, it would not take long for guests to make note of the odd occurrences that seemed to happen in certain rooms, and an all-around vibe of something dark on the premises. Some have credited this to the fact that the motel is literally right next to a cemetery. Some believe that dark spirits are attached to some of the clown dolls and statues, as the collection has grown over the years with motel staff purchases and numerous guest donations. The total number of clowns on premises, not including art and paintings in the 31 rooms, totaled over 800 in 2018. But what are the claims? What can you expect if you plan to stay here? Step right up and let's check in for our own stay at the world-famous Clown Motel.
And now a word from our sponsors.
VENATOS is in our hands. It's left to us, guys. And we gotta do something with it.
Anyone who's been a part of the Press Start family for any amount of time knows that I truly appreciate and value the relationship that I have with today's sponsor, VENATOS. They are truly an outstanding company with great quality products that I can truly get behind and put my stamp of approval on. Their customer service is absolutely hands down some of the best on the marketplace. If you reach out to them for any reason, your emails are typically responded to within hours, not days, hours. And not only do they promise to make it right, they promise to make it better. And as a thank you for your support, they are offering a 10% discount on any orders if you use the code PressStartMom at checkout. They do ship internationally, including Canada, and 100% stand by the quality of their products. And so do I. Thank you, VENATOS, for sponsoring this video, and thank you to all of you for checking out VENATOS. Let's get back to the video.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it has arrived. Come to the dark circus. The circus where clowns never smile. Your darkest nightmares will come to life.
The curious and brave alike make the journey to Tonopah to seek out their own experiences in this one-of-a-kind motel. And with the dark stigma surrounding clowns and the eerie atmospheric cemetery literally right next door, it seems that this world-famous motel has become a breeding ground for paranormal activity and odd occurrences. Some skeptics will have you believe that this is just your mind playing tricks on you. But those who have stayed the night report that what they experienced was very much real. To discuss some of the more off-putting activity reported, we look to Mackenzie Marie and her details of the history of the haunting at the Clown Motel from her own video on her experiences.
Leroy and Leona Davis's father died in a mining fire and was buried in the Tonopah Cemetery. And in 1985, they built a hotel next to the cemetery to honor their father. He was a man who loved clowns. He had a collection of over 150 clowns that reside today in this motel. People who have visited this motel have claimed to have strange occurrences happen during the duration of their stay. People have reported hearing odd laughter throughout the corridors. One man woke up in the middle of the night to find a full body apparition of a clown standing over him. TVs have turned on and off in the middle of the night. Sinks have turned on without anyone turning them on. Even the motel's housekeeper has seen full body apparitions in the cemetery. The Clown Motel is named one of America's most scariest hotels. Is it back on?
I'm pretty sure it's back on.
The Clown Motel. Oh my god. Yeah. We're filming the intro right now and
We just turned it off.
the water keeps turning on and off by itself. Things are already happening.
We'll check back in with Mackenzie's investigation a little later on, but this location has played host to many paranormal investigators over the years, many coming back with intriguing and terrifying tales. Most famously, Ghost Adventures would visit for a season 14 episode, much to the chagrin of host Zach Bagans, who himself suffers from coulrophobia. But Zach would face his fears and give Travel Channel viewers a truly terrifying glimpse into what he and his team experienced that night.
Do you possess these clowns? Can I hear you laugh? Let's hear you laugh.
That.
The life-size clown doll's left hand just moved off of its lap. I try to debunk that this was caused simply by my footsteps, but right here you can see me standing absolutely still while this doll's hand moves. Whether this was caused by gravity, ghosts, or this possessed doll, I don't care. I'm done.
But the Ghost Adventures team would not be the only ones to capture the wandering hands of this life-size clown statue. In 2019, Paranormal Voyages would have their own experience with the activity surrounding the motel and would end their night with truly remarkable video evidence of something absolutely spooky. Thanks to one of my faves, Nuke's Top 5, for this perfect recap of their encounters.
Need my help, Jonathan? You know what? I don't have a connection. I don't have a...
His hand just moved.
Really?
It's down. It just moved. I just watched. Whoa.
What happened there?
Both hands fell.
Both.
Thank you.
Both hands just moved. Rule out vibration. We've been all around here. I literally
all
walked
night.
around here.
All
around
night.
circles.
I've walked over there. I've walked
and it
back
has
and
not
forth.
moved.
What you just witnessed is real poltergeist activity. Not once, but twice. Just before I turn the lights on, you can see the clown's right hand slightly move. Shortly after, the right hand comes completely off the top of his lap. Once Celia brings this to our attention, all three of us witnessed the left hand fall down. This completely blows our minds. We do not feel vibration was a factor, as we had walked around the clown all night and the hands never budged. I knew just as soon as I would say cut cameras, something would happen, so I left 2 rolling just in case, and I'm glad I did.
And of course you remember our friend Mackenzie. She would do more than just recap the history of the Clown Motel. She and her team would also have their own terrifying experiences that were documented and posted to her YouTube channel.
We're in the lobby of the Clown Motel now, around all 600 of these clowns from all over the world. And we're gonna try to see if we can communicate with anything, anyone here. Right now we're using a method called the Estes method. It's when one person has their eyes closed and they can't hear anything other than the spirit box. And another person, as in me, I'm gonna be asking questions. Nikki can't hear me at all, but she's gonna be answering the questions using what she hears through this box. If there's anyone here with us right now and you would like to talk to us, please let us know by using this box to manipulate it so Nikki can hear what you're saying.
Okay, hold on. There's like no voices.
Okay.
But something that I didn't hear the last time I tried these, but I keep hearing is
clapping.
like as it's changing stations, but it's like not on the beat with changing the stations. It literally just sounds like
someone's like consistently clapping.
Did your camera turned off.
Did your camera turn off?
Oh my god, Nikki's camera just turned off.
I'm gonna turn it back on.
We're gonna ask some questions again. If there's anyone here right now and you want to talk, just make yourself known, say something.
Face me?
Face you?
Footsteps. I just heard footsteps. Turn your head north. Which way's north?
North is that way.
That way.
Okay.
I am facing north.
Maybe me.
Yeah.
Yeah, face north.
Alright, we're switching spots real quick. I feel really weird with having my back to this display. This is the one that it's like
Close to you, close.
Are we close to you? Are you a spirit that's related to one of the clowns in this
At the front entrance. That very same ghost.
Did any of these clowns belong to the father of the children that built this hotel? I think their names were Leon and Leroy.
Some of them.
Some of them.
Some of the clowns.
Some of the clowns, yeah.
Especially
which ones? Some of these
No
clowns
way.
belong to you? That's so awesome. Do you have a favorite clown here that you'd like to direct us to? Incoming.
Is it the clown when we enter? The Ronald McDonald?
Which clown was it?
Yeah, we're asking.
Pathetic?
He doesn't like our questions.
I do want to tell you that this man who had all these clowns, he died in like a really tragic way. And we're really sorry about that.
Good. I like that.
Okay. We're sorry.
We didn't mean to offend you.
We really did not mean to offend you. Is
Wrong.
We didn't want to share.
It seems upset.
We're sorry if we upset you. Is there something that you would like to tell us?
The fact that you don't know how to function.
Is it because we're recording?
Do you not like the fact that we're documenting this?
Your resources.
Yeah, maybe we have the wrong information.
Okay,
yes.
So we have the wrong information.
What we were told, like our resources, what we looked up is wrong.
With wrong information.
I just got chills.
Me too. I have serious chills. Is there something that you would like
Empty?
to
You asked, would you like us to leave, and the owner walked out like a second later.
The room is empty
You'll
now.
see us?
The room is empty now. It's just us in here. Did he not die? Like how people are trying to make him out to die? Because this man...
You're stalling. I want to speak to impress. And instead of actually.
I get what he's saying. He's like, we're only asking him these questions because he's like, you just want to impress people and show that you can talk to spirits. It's not like you actually want to talk to me. I want to actually know what happened. Everyone in the world thinks something else. And if we're wrong.
Bob and Deborah Perchetti would purchase the haunted hotel from the David children in 1995 in a deal that reportedly was completed on a dinner napkin. Bob Perchetti loved the attention the motel was receiving and was always welcoming of investigative groups who wanted to experience the activity for themselves. But in 2017, he would decide to retire from the motel business, and the motel sat without management until 2019 when it was purchased by Ham Anand. Anand seems to be the perfect person to have taken up the mantle of the Clown Motel, as he, much like Clarence David, came with his own collection of 200 clown dolls to add to the ever-growing collection. For Anand in the beginning, he claimed that he was quite scared of the property and was apprehensive, unsure that he had made the right decision. However, as time has gone on, he has become at home and comfortable with his paranormal lodgers and believe the spirits that haunt the Clown Motel are mostly benevolent. Anand insists, they were telling me, we are here, but don't worry about that. When it comes to the Clown Motel, it would seem the intent of those responsible for the paranormal occurrences align with the perception of clowns themselves. Some ghostly inhabitants of the Clown Motel are looking for some laughs in the afterlife, but some may have more dark and sinister intentions for the road-weary travelers hoping to rest for the night at the world-famous Clown Motel. They may just want to make you laugh to death. I want to thank all of you for once again descending into the darkness with me. If you like this video, please give it a like, and remember to subscribe for more content coming soon. Comment on your favorite haunted locations across the United States so we can plan a road trip together soon. As always, thank you to VENATOS for being a great sponsor and for their continued support of the channel. Don't forget to go and check out venatos.com and use that code PRESSSTARTMOM at checkout to secure your 10% off today. Thank you to my top subscribers for their constant love and support and for being there at the beginning stages of what I hope will be an ever-growing channel. Times may be dark, the sinister may be around every corner, but if we tackle the road together, it might not be so dark. Once again, love one another, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next time.
love it when I turn up the bass.